To dominate one event at the Olympics is extraordinary. To win gold medals in 3 others along the journey is hard to fathom. Carl Lewis changed track and field forever, and it's unlikely the world will see anyone like him again. In the space of 4 years, Farah became the greatest distance runner in history. And Australian hurdler Sally Pearson kick-started a revolution in her event. This is the Immortals. At his first Olympic Games, Carl Lewis equaled the greatest in history. 12 years later, he was still winning gold. Carl Lewis was supposedly in decline. Given he was 35 coming into the 1996 Atlanta Olympic Games, his involvement in the long jump final was seen as a fitting farewell in front of his home crowd. Lewis had won the previous 3 Olympic gold medals in the long jump. Only one other athlete in history had won the same event 4 times on the world's biggest stage. The American was already his country's greatest ever track and field athlete. Surely he didn't have one last moment of magic. On his 3rd attempt in the competition, Lewis leapt 8.50 meters. The rest never got close, with his winning margin 21 centimeters. Lewis had defied age, gravity, history, and logic to win the 9th Olympic gold medal of his career. It was quite possibly his most impossible moment in an impossibly brilliant career. Lewis had started his extraordinary run by emulating the great Jesse Owens in winning 4 gold medals at the 1984 Los Angeles Olympics. He was not only the best long jumper in the world, but also the fastest man on the planet. In Seoul in 1988, Lewis defended his 100 meters and long jump titles before repeating the dose at Barcelona in 1992. While also adding a 4x100 meter relay gold medal. His Atlanta heroics meant he joined fellow American discus thrower Al Orta as having won the same Olympic event 4 times. The pair was joined by swimming sensation Michael Phelps 20 years later. Phelps smashed all sorts of records, including the most Olympic gold, leaving an admiring Lewis equal second on the list.
I did what I did in the last millennium or last century. It's a new century and it's Michael's time, so I'm really congratulating him. He's a great kid and he's going to do great things and hopefully people can follow his model for what the Olympic spirit is because he embellishes everything of what it means.
Lewis's journey had started back at the inaugural World Championships in Helsinki in 1983. Where the kid from the University of Houston won gold in the 100 meters, 4x100 meter relay, and long jump. He would finish his career with 8 world titles to his name, which ranks him equal 3rd in history, behind the man who took his title as the greatest, Usain Bolt. Lewis was undefeated for a decade in the long jump, winning an incredible 65 consecutive competitions, while also running sub 10 seconds for the 100 meters a remarkable 15 times. I have never competed against athletes. I competed against perfection. Ironically, it was 2 rare defeats which provided the most controversial and defining moments of his extraordinary career. Still to come on the Immortals, the shock result that changed the course of world athletics forever. Winning a track and field Olympic gold medal requires the perfect performance once in a lifetime. Producing perfection multiple times in the same event is simply mind-boggling. Carl Lewis did it 4 times. Others to produce multiple acts of track and field magic include American Al Orta, who won the discus throw at the 1956 Olympics in Melbourne and 12 years later at the Mexico Olympics, collected his 4th gold medal. Russian Viktor Saniev won 3 gold medals in the triple jump, while Czech javelin thrower Jan Zalesny also claimed the Olympic treble. Way back to the start of the 20th century, America's Ray Uri won the standing long jump and high jump in 3 consecutive games, while his teammate John Flanagan also won the hammer throw 3 times from 1900 to 1908. The latest to join the elite club is sprinter Usain Bolt, with a double entry, having won the 100 and 200 meters at the 2008, 2012, and 2016 Olympic Games. Carl Lewis arrived at the 1988 Seoul Olympics a man on a mission. Earlier in the year, he'd lost his father, William, who along with his mother, Evelyn, had been major influences on his career. When his father passed, Lewis put his first Olympic 100-meter gold medal in his hand to be buried with him, and then told his mother, "Don't worry, I'll get another one." There was one major obstacle in his way, a Canadian named Ben Johnson. The previous year at the 1987 World Championships, Johnson had set a new world record of 9.83 seconds to defeat Lewis. In the aftermath of the shock defeat, the reigning Olympic champion raised the specter of drugs in the sport. There are a lot of people coming out of nowhere. I don't think they're doing it without drugs. I could run 9.8 or faster if I could jump into drugs right away. They would be prophetic words, as in the '88 Seoul final, Johnson again claimed victory in yet another astonishing world record time of 9.79 seconds. 3 days later, he was disqualified after testing positive to steroids. Lewis was awarded the gold medal and new Olympic record of 9.92 seconds. It was an historic moment in the sport. The drugs cloud has hovered over the blue riband event ever since, with Lewis even having to defend himself years later.
Well, the reality is, it's a very complicated issue, and it's people. I think a lot of times we're going about it the wrong way. We're teaching kids at a young age that you get rewards for really not doing anything. So that's part of it. I think when you get up to the professional level, now athletes understand. They know who's taking drugs, but they're not willing to speak out about it. It's a very complicated issue. I mean, I think that it's more than just I want to run fast and win and make money. It's a issue that you have personally. There's a self-esteem issue if someone takes drugs. There's something there, because why would you cheat?
The long jump was always Lewis's preferred event, and for a long time, no one could even get close. He was actually criticized at the 1984 Olympics for passing on his final 4 attempts because he wanted to save himself for the rest of his events. It was a smart call, as Lewis still won gold by 30 centimeters. That all changed with the arrival of fellow American Mike Powell, who'd won the silver medal in Seoul. Each year he was getting closer to breaking Lewis's unbeaten run, and that moment came at the 1991 World Championships in Tokyo. Lewis had long had his sights set on Bob Beeman's world record of 8.90 meters, which had been set in altitude at the 1968 Mexico Olympics. In what was the greatest long jump competition ever seen, Lewis went past Beeman by 1 centimeter with his 4th jump, but it was not deemed a legal jump because of the wind reading. Powell, who had a 0 and 15 head-to-head record against Lewis, then produced a leap which shocked the world a legal jump of 8.95 meters, although he wasn't expecting to own the record for too long. Beeman's record had lasted 23 years, but I didn't think it would last 23 minutes. Lewis certainly responded, registering the longest jump of his career at his next attempt, 8.87 meters, and then soared 8.84 on his sixth and final jump, but it wasn't enough. The winning streak was over, and the world record that everyone expected to be his was owned by someone else. Lewis got revenge at the 1992 Barcelona Olympics, winning gold with a leap of 8.67 meters, 3 centimeters ahead of Powell. Powell had one last shot at stealing Olympic glory from his arch-rival in Atlanta, but injured himself in the final, finishing 5th and then promptly retired. The following year, he was joined by Lewis, who fittingly finished where it had all started, back at the University of Houston, with an exhibition sprint at halftime of a college football match.
Because I'm ready to retire, and that's from a totally positive standpoint of doing everything and beyond what I could have possibly imagined, and being able to walk away on my terms. I mean, that was something I always wanted to do, and I'm doing it, so I'm very happy about that. But then, of course, a little sad because a part of my life is getting ready to change.
Life away from the track saw King Carl go in a number of different directions, including an unsuccessful acting career and a failed attempt to get a seat on the New Jersey Senate. He was voted the World Athlete of the Century by the IAAF and named Sportsman of the Century by the International Olympic Committee. Lewis has admired the rise of Usain Bolt to challenge his mantle as the greatest track and field Olympian, although he warned the Jamaican superstar against complacency over the final stages of his career.
Anyone can be beaten, and that's why you have to run the race that day. I wish that I could have just mailed in those 9 gold medals and just said, oh, it's okay, I'm the favorite, they give it to me. You have to run that day, and everyone can be beaten, and anyone can win.
The thing about Lewis is he ran the right race and produced the right jump every time, year after year, championship after championship, like an immortal. Up next on the Immortals, from Somalia to British royalty, Mo Farah's incredible journey. Winning the distance double at his hometown Olympics ensured Mo Farah greatness, but he didn't stop there.
It feels amazing. I never dream of becoming Olympic champion 4 times. You know, I dream of becoming Olympic champion once, and to do it in London, double Olympic champion, and come back 4 years later. It's been amazing. It's been a long journey, but oh man, there's no really word to describe. It's every athlete's dream to become Olympic champion, but to become Olympic champion 4 times, it means so much. It's incredible.
Mo Farah traveled far and wide as he searched for the keys to success, which would ultimately see him become one of the greatest runners in history. He spent time training in Australia and Ethiopia before finding the ultimate training base in the hills of Kenya. Farah was one of a number of champions who made the dirt tracks of Iten their second home, where the air is thin and the trails are steep. Kenya's Olympic 800-meter champion and world record holder David Rudisha and England's marathon world record holder Paula Radcliffe both prospered at the renowned high-altitude training center. Iten soon became known as the home of champions, with Farah's career spiking after he became a regular in 2010.
It's working hard in here in terms of elevation. It's 8,000 feet, and it's something that's worked for me, and I've been here for the last 4 years, and just getting the right training.
If you want a moment that encapsulates Mo Farah's dominance, look no further than the 10,000 meters Olympic final in Rio. Farah came into the 2016 Games on an incredible winning streak. He hadn't lost a major championships race over 5,000 or 10,000 meters since 2011. Double gold in front of his adoring home crowd at the London 2012 Games ensured him icon status in his adopted country. But dealing with adversity is an important factor when striving for immortality. During the 10th lap of the 10,000-meter final in Rio, Farah clipped the heels of his training partner Galen Rupp and crashed to the track. While he picked himself up and surged back to the main group again, the consensus in the stadium was that the energy spent in recovering would come back to haunt the reigning champion at some stage. At the 300-meter mark, when Kenya's Paul Tanui took the lead, it appeared that moment had arrived. Everyone thought that except Farah, who summoned one last dose of strength from his seemingly endless supply for one last sprint. He took the lead at the top of the home straight and careered away to claim a remarkable victory. Even months later, Farah was still shaking his head about his Rio heroics.
Brazil was amazing for me to be able to achieve to do what I did in Rio, and to get another 2 gold medals was incredible, particularly having taken that full in the race and managed to still pull it off. It was amazing. I look back now and think, oh my God, how did I do that?
Farah's journey started in Somalia before he moved to be with his father in England at the age of 8. His first title came in the 5,000 meters at the European Junior Championship in 2001. His breakout year came in 2010, when he won the distance double at the European Championships. Only the 5th man in the 66-year history of the event to do it. In 2011, Farah relocated to the US to work with highly regarded coach Alberto Salazar, and the results were instant. His first world title coming in the 5,000 meters in Daegu. As a consequence, the distance runner was one of the faces of the Games in the lead-up to the London Olympics. And on a historic night for Team Britain, Farah didn't let his country down. In the space of an hour inside the Olympic Stadium, he produced a stunning final lap to capture the 10,000-meter crown. Then fellow Brit Jessica Owens won the heptathlon, and Greg Rutherford took gold in the long jump.
It was just amazing, coming last lap kicking in and the crowd just get louder and louder and louder, cameras going off, and at one point I didn't even know where I was, but I just had to concentrate and just dig in and work, and when I crossed the line it was the best moment. I couldn't believe I won.
Farah was just as dominant in the 5,000-meter final, with calls for the distance star to be knighted by the Queen for his performances. Over the next 3 years, Farah went step for step with Usain Bolt, which is not an easy task. Both produced back-to-back clean sweeps at the 2013 and 2015 World Championships, with Farah rewriting the record books. He dedicated his 2015 victory in Beijing to his family, who had to endure long absences because of his extensive and thorough overseas training program.
Yeah, this one's special, to my family specifically, It would have been nice to see my kids, my daughters, and I've been away so long, I've been always away 7 months of the year. It's never an easy thing, and my daughter said to me the other day, Daddy, I'm coming to your home. Do you think I've got another home somewhere else? And it really hurts you as a parent, but this makes it enjoyable.
Bolt and Farah became good friends, with the distance star inventing his own victory celebration, the Mobot, to rival the sprinter's lightning bolt. After completing the double in Rio, Farah became just the 2nd athlete in history to defend the 5,000-meter, 10,000-meter Olympic titles, joining Finland's Lasse Viren. It also stretched his unbeaten run in major finals to 9, with his last loss coming in the 10,000 meters at the 2011 World Championships, where Farah finished 2nd. The only thing missing from the CV were world records with both distance marks, owned by Ethiopian star Kenenisa Bekele, who'd won the double at the 2008 Beijing Olympics. He's just the perfect championship runner. That knighthood did come in 2017 for Sir Mohammed Mukhtar Jama Farah. Fitting reward for an immortal of British sport. When we return, the Australian Golden Girl who revived the 100-meter hurdles. Sally Pearson made a habit of surprising the world with her performances, except for the greatest moment of her career. When Sally Pearson stopped the clock at 12.28 seconds to win the 100-meter hurdles world title in Daegu in 2011, the athletics community collectively breathed a sigh of relief. While it wasn't officially the world record, the fact someone had broken through the ceiling and was threatening it was good news. Pearson's time was 4th on the all-time list, but there was a seriously big asterisk alongside the names of the 3 athletes ahead of her. 2 were from Bulgaria and the other from Russia. All were suspected cheats who ran the times when drug tests weren't as stringent throughout the 1980s and early 1990s. The Australian was taking the event to a new level, and this was recognized when Pearson shared the stage at the IAAF Awards with Usain Bolt, named Female Athlete of the Year.
Again, thank you everyone for coming tonight. It truly means a lot to all the athletes here, I'm sure, because we work so hard for what we get in our results in the sport, and to have nights like this means a lot to us. It feels that our results have been appreciated, so thank you very much.
Pearson had risen to prominence at the 2008 Olympic Games in Beijing, where the 21-year-old was a surprise silver medalist. She'd been a semi-finalist in the 100-meter and 100-meter hurdles at the previous year's World Championships in Osaka. But her decision to focus only on the hurdles paid off, as she lunged on the line in the Olympic final to grab silver, just a 1/10 of a second behind America's Dawn Harper. Her reaction of shock and disbelief went viral, as did her post-race television interview. Is this real? Can you believe it? 4 years later, it was a very different story, with Pearson the overwhelming favorite coming into the London Olympics. The former gymnast from Queensland in Northern Australia had won 32 of 34 races coming into the Games. Australia's previous track queen was Cathy Freeman, who carried the hopes of a nation to victory in the 400 metres at the Sydney 2000 Olympics.
Definitely not the Cathy Freeman. No one can fill her shoes, that's for sure. But obviously, yeah, I know that everyone wants me to win, and I want to win as well. So that's how I look at it. Everyone just wants the best for me, as I do for myself. So I guess I don't look at it as the weight of expectation or pressure, because it's just something that every athlete wants to do when they step out at the track. No one steps out to come second or third. They step out to win gold, and that's what I want to do.
Pearson never missed a beat, dominating the final to clock a new Olympic record of 12.35 seconds. It was Australia's first gold medal on the track since Freeman became a legend 12 years earlier. She was never the same after 2000, but Pearson was coming into her prime and went chasing more medals.
I think one of my strongest attributes is that I trained like I'm number 2. I don't train like I'm the best. I know that those girls want to beat me, and I know that they're right there. And that's what I keep in the back of my mind, is that I don't step on the track as number 1. I go out there, obviously I want to win, but I got in the back of my mind that I'm not always going to be the best in the world. And if I want to continue to be the best in the world, I have to be hungry for it.
After a season battling injury, she still took silver at the 2013 World Championships in Moscow, and then defended her Commonwealth title in Glasgow in 2014. Injuries started to become more of an issue, with Pearson breaking her wrist in a race fall midway through 2015, which ended her season. She didn't get the chance to defend her Olympic crown in Rio after hamstring and Achilles problems forced her to withdraw 6 weeks out from the Games. In her absence, American Kendra Harrison claimed the world record, running 12.20 seconds in London just a month out from the Games. This further enhanced Pearson's legacy as a trailblazer, the Immortal who changed the 100-meter hurdles forever.